Well, another episode. This is kind of fun. Jeff, welcome to Raising the Grade. How are you?
Good, Eric. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, what a trip. I love that you made it out here. I kind of start everybody off with a little bit of a gut punch, you know. So the first question is, who is Jeff?
Who is Jeff?
Who is Jeff? Who are people going to
Well,
say Jeff is?
yeah, Jeff has had feels like many lifetimes of different jobs and careers, and yeah, just a father of three boys. Remarried about 15 years ago
Mhm.
to the love of my life. Um, I've owned multiple businesses, and yeah, I've been around the block a few times, but what I'm currently doing, and I absolutely is the best job ever, is
Mhm.
I'm working for God.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. That's a big title. That's a
absolutely.
big undertaking to own, and I love it. Um, Before we get there, and we will, tell me about some of the other things you've done, how you ended up maybe in Arizona.
Yeah,
Help paint a little bit of a picture of like,
yeah.
not too much, but how'd you get here?
So was raising my boys
Okay.
for 15 years on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, was divorced, and never say never, but I always said I will never be married again.
Okay.
That just didn't go well. And
Somebody had other plans for you.
Yes, somebody had other plans
Yeah.
for me. I
Yeah.
remember the day that I was driving home, and I just said, "God, I'm tired of being alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not supposed to do this on my own."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling God exactly what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, "You ever go through the drive-through at McDonald's and you say, hey, I you know, want a Big Mac,' and
Oh,
they
I hope
say."
Kate's not watching this.
Yeah,
No,
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 no.
I've told this
Okay,
story many
okay.
times, and they say, "Well, would you like to supersize that for
Mhm,
25 cents?" That's
mhm.
what God did. He
Yeah.
supersized me
Oh, man.
with my wife, my best friend, my partner.
I love
Uh,
that.
and anyway, she was from California.
Okay.
I'm from Indiana. We were supposed to meet 2 years prior to that,
Mhm,
before we actually met.
mhm.
And when we met, I think it was just like instantaneous. We knew we needed to get to know each other better.
Sure.
But I think God had already,
Mhm.
you know, just kind of brought us together right in that
Had some
moment.
instant chemistry.
Yeah.
That's super
So,
fun. I heard you say multiple businesses. Can you share any of
yeah, I
them? Any
think, well,
proprietary stuff or?
as a young entrepreneur, because that's always
Mhm.
what I wanted to do in
Yeah.
life, was just have my own business and
Sure.
work for myself. I started, gosh, this was back in the early 90s. I started it's kind of sound kind of funny, but I
Let's
love
have it.
tropical fish.
Okay.
So I started my own tank cleaning
I love
business.
that you pick something you love.
Yeah.
Like most people pick something that
Yeah.
pays and then try to make it something they love. You're the other side of that coin.
Yeah,
I like it.
absolutely. Love that job.
Do you have fish right now?
I do not.
Okay. Do you want fish right now?
I would love to have a tank right
Okay,
now.
how cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just no place to put it, nor
No,
do I have the time
fair.
to take care of it.
Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
kind of like anybody. I mean, if I went to your house right now,
Mhm.
your landscaping's probably not up to par what you do
Yeah,
every
no.
day with
Mm-mm,
somebody else.
never. It's the
So
chef's kitchen, the mechanic's car,
exactly.
100% dig it.
Exactly. So I whose tank always got neglected when I was
Mhm.
doing that business.
Mhm.
It was me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, went to business to school for business.
Okay.
God had a few different plans for me there. Ended up having a child on the way.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay.
Married her,
Mhm.
and 7 years later, the grass was greener somewhere else for her.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yeah, just decided, hey, I've got three lovely boys that I love
Mhm.
to death, and
Mhm.
I'm never going to leave, and I'm just going to pour myself into them. And in that process of going through that, I had an opportunity to open an office for a medical equipment
Oh,
company.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Um, that after 3 years, I had opened a branch for them in Indiana.
Mhm.
That branch within 3 years became their number one branch. I got a call literally on uh, April Fool's Day from my boss
Uh-huh.
that said they were selling to a
Mhm.
big national company.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, April Fools. That's
Mhm.
real funny.
Mhm.
She said, and then she broke down to start crying. She said, no,
Mm.
I'm totally serious.
Mm.
So at that moment, I'm like, hey, I got to do something.
Mhm.
I'm not willing to work for this big national
Mhm.
company. Um, and went out and found some investors and start our own. And it
Okay.
was called Advanced Healthcare.
Okay.
We had it for 15 years.
Mhm.
In fact, the partner I had in that is still today my best friend.
Okay.
Um,
Very cool. What part of
and
the country are you in for this?
Indiana still.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Fort Wayne, Northeast
Okay.
Indiana, Fort Wayne. So we became the largest independent medical equipment company. What that business consisted of was oxygen, home
Mhm.
oxygen.
Mhm.
Basically, how I tell this is, Eric, if you were out, got in a car accident,
Mhm.
go to the hospital, they're going to discharge you. You need anything from
Mm.
a ventilator to go home on
Mhm.
to a box of band-aids,
Mhm.
anything in
Mhm.
between. That's what we did.
Okay.
We would
Cool.
bill Medicare, Medicaid, insurance.
Mhm.
Biggest part of our business was CPAPs,
Oh yeah.
sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Most people have those.
Yeah, it's so
Uh,
crazy how many people
oh,
have them.
it's
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 like,
nuts.
how did anybody ever sleep without them? Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, like
And how does anybody sleep with them? But
also true. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, CPAPs, oxygen. We were considered the largest independent
Mhm.
in Northeast Indiana.
Mhm.
Um, and then one day we just decided it was time to move on.
And now you're dabbling in real estate, or you're full-time real estate. I know you're not full-time because I know what else you do, but like tell me kind of how real estate ties in. And I'm going to lead into my next question. I'll give you a clue. Could you see how all these things kind of built you into the man you are today to do what you're doing?
It took a while.
Okay.
It took, and I think that's with anything in life. Especially when you've given your life to the Lord,
Mhm.
is you just need to sit quietly and reflect back on how God orchestrated everything in your life.
Mhm.
And there is no doubt in my mind, everything that was orchestrated, even though, I didn't understand it at the
Mhm.
time, I do now.
Mhm.
But real estate, so sold that business,
Okay.
the medical equipment company in Indiana, jumped in an RV
Mm.
with my
That
wife.
sounds awesome.
We had been married about 3 years.
Mhm.
We were going to go on a quick, you know, just tour of the United States, bought an
Mhm.
RV,
Mhm.
and ended up, we were out of Indiana for 2 years. I fell in love with Arizona.
Wow. Were you
Was
traveling the whole 2 years?
No, not the whole 2 years.
A good
About a
chunk
year
of it.
in, her mother passed away.
Oh, okay.
So we decided we were going to, thinking we were going to help her dad, who
Mhm.
ultimately he was fine. I mean, it was good
Mhm.
for us to be there for the first couple months, but
Mhm.
he transitioned pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, ended up um moving to Arizona about 10 years
So
ago.
you visited here and you're like, this is it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
well, yes. I needed to be out here for spring training because I love baseball.
Okay, cool. Good to
Um,
know.
yeah,
I just went to a Diamondbacks game and I loved it.
yeah.
It was fun.
I'm a big Tigers fan right now.
Fair enough.
Never
Fair
in my
enough.
life have I been a Tigers fan.
Yeah. Just who's
But
playing
there's
for them or their style or what?
no, it's I've got uh, a young man. I call him young man. He's
Mhm.
29,
Mhm.
that I coached in Little League.
Mhm.
His family, his mother actually worked for me for years.
Okay.
I coached with his dad. I coached his older brother, and then I coached Zach. His name's Zach McKinstry, but he plays for the Tigers now.
Oh, cool. That'll make you a fan
So,
real
oh
quick.
yeah, that's the only. Yeah, just
That's
watched him
cool.
today. So the Tigers are in the run for the wild card right now. It's kind of up to them if they're going to make it or not.
Wow. How
So
fun.
yeah.
What can you share what position or anything?
Oh yeah, Zach is he's a utility player.
Okay.
It was
Killer.
interesting. He was drafted by the Dodgers,
Mhm.
when I've never been a Dodgers fan, and I watched him for years there. I was a Zach McKinstry fan at that time.
Okay.
All you Dodgers fans, I'm sorry,
Yeah, fair.
yeah, watched him go through the Dodgers organization and played for the Cubs for about a year,
Mhm.
and then is now with the Tigers.
We had a friend that
So
was a Cubbies fan when they won, and it was like something else. It
yeah,
was out of a movie.
yeah.
That was pretty cool. So what are you doing now? Tell me
So
about
up
your current.
until the first of this year, I was still doing real estate.
Okay.
And the reason God picked real estate for me, I think was it I just was stubborn, didn't want to work for anybody. I had
Mhm.
always been my own boss
Mhm.
for many years, and didn't want employees again.
Sure. You pick
I'm
you
sure you
say
can start to relate with that.
I love
Employees can be
employees.
tough. I love employees too, but it's a handful.
It's a little more work, yeah.
It is a little bit more
Yeah.
work. And moved to Arizona and just actually backing up while we were on our RV trip. I was flipping houses back in Indiana,
Oh, cool.
so I really love that
Mhm.
because
That's a fun one.
I was on site with a
Mhm.
I had found a contractor,
Mhm.
um, good Christian guy. I was
Mhm.
in there every day learning the trade, seeing how things were done.
Mhm.
I mean, every day.
That's a
We flipped a
ball.
couple houses. I kept a couple for rentals,
Okay, cool.
and just thought, you know what? I'm going to go to Arizona and do the same thing.
Mhm.
And came out here and thought, all right, I'm going to get my real estate license.
Mhm.
Never did I ever think I'd want to be a real estate agent.
Okay.
Still didn't want to really be a real estate agent then. I just wanted to flip houses.
Mhm.
But I knew if I was a agent, I had a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the industry,
100%.
and I could list my own
Yep.
houses.
Put
I
put a
could
bunch of money
buy
in your
my own
own pocket.
houses.
Yeah.
I could save a little bit of money.
Mhm.
Got my real estate license. I fast tracked it, man. There's the school I went to had multiple locations, and they did
Mhm.
certain classes on certain days
Mhm.
throughout the valley. I mean, I
Mhm.
was driving
Mhm.
hour and a half
Just
one
get her
way,
done
just get it
mentality.
done as fast as I could.
Okay.
As soon as that I got my license, I really started taking a hard look at the industry, and I'll tell you, the margins just were not there anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
As a
I feel like there's a
anybody that does real
lot
estate,
of realtors.
yeah, there's a ton of
Like the
realtors.
quantity is high. I feel like the competition is
Yeah,
intense.
things have changed dramatically over the last probably 6 months. Not even
Mhm.
that. I think it
Mhm.
all started in August.
Okay.
Um,
So we're in September as of
mhm.
this filming, and you said first of this year something changed.
Something changed. Yes. So that kind of brings us into what I'm doing currently, and that
Mhm.
is um, I have the privilege, and my wife and I both have the privilege of running a ministry that, after asking for a year and a half what God wanted me to do, we have a ministry called BBQ Mission,
Mhm.
and
I love it.
as we're into our 10th year.
Wow. That's what trips me out is how long you've
Yeah,
been at it. I ran
yeah,
into you in 2023,
yeah.
2022 maybe.
22,
Yeah, late
23.
22, I
Yep.
think. And we were just basically looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And so my wife, I think, had found it. And we're like, oh, let's go do that. And so we came and served with you guys. And I was like, wow, this is fun and easy and fulfilling. And
Mm.
it was a really fantastic opportunity to just connect with a lot of people that I don't think a lot of people are connecting with per se. But you made it easy. You guys really had a system down, borderline military, and I think you need it,
Yeah.
frankly,
Yeah.
to be able to serve that many people that quickly, that consistency without a bunch of hullabaloo.
Yes.
So 10 years, how have you kind of seen it grow? What are some things that have changed? And
Yeah.
then what are some aspirations? So,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, even since you've been coming
mm-hmm,
down, um, we've God put it on Kate's heart um, to start a prayer tent,
uh-huh,
and
that's
that
right.
has just blown me away.
Mm-hmm,
The people that are coming to know the Lord, the people that
mm-hmm,
are coming to give their life to the Lord.
mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. I'll tell you, Eric.
Amen. I love
You
that.
know, kind of going back, 10 years, 11 years ago, it really was, I had sold the business
Mm-hmm.
or driving around in an RV, and I just felt like God had something more for me. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I looked at Kate. She, a good woman always makes you a better man.
Mm-hmm.
That woman has made me
Mm-hmm.
closer to God
Mm-hmm.
than I ever would have got to on my
Mm.
own.
I love that.
And I just looked at her. I said, "Listen, I just feel like God has more for us."
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm on board for whatever you feel like God's telling us to do. I
Mhm.
mean, I was ready to sell everything and just move
Mhm.
to a third world country.
Mhm.
What I really wanted to do was I wanted to go help stop child trafficking.
Mm.
That is
Mhm.
nothing makes me sicker
Mhm.
than
I think
children being
everybody would
abused that
agree
way.
with that.
It's a sick thing.
Mhm.
And that's what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
So for a year and a half, I mean, literally almost daily, I'm like, God, what do you have for me?
Mhm.
What do you have for me? What do you want me to do?
Mhm.
And I could not get an answer.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until we actually moved to Arizona
Mhm.
and we were living in Estrella Mountain
Mhm.
Ranch, and
Yep.
I'm sitting in church. One morning, I must have asked God, or he was just ready to tell me what it was. But he asked me, he did. I said, God, what do you want me to do? And he said, what do you like to do,
Mhm.
Jeff? What do you like to do? It was like you and I having a conversation, but I can't see you. I mean, and it's just like
Mhm.
God. God said, what do you like to do? I
Mhm.
said, I don't know. I like to smoke meats and barbecue. And as soon as I said that, I said, what am I saying? I want to stop child trafficking.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. But
Yeah.
God's like, no, that's what you need to go
Wow.
do then.
Wow.
I mean, that church service gets over. We walk to the car. I get in the car and I said, Kate, this is what I think I'm supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be doing something, I think, with the homeless
Mhm.
with barbecue.
Mhm.
She said, well, you better figure it out.
I love that. I love that she didn't just look at you and go, "Jeff, are you okay?"
No.
And so tell me how this unfolds. So
Yeah.
this is 10 years ago, and
So,
then all of a sudden there's a truck, and there's all these multiple barbecues,
yeah,
all these people
that didn't
showing up,
happen
and
overnight.
I got you. I got you.
That was a slow growth.
Hmm.
And that's the way God does things.
Hmm.
He's not going to give you too much, but he
Just
is
right.
definitely going to take care of you.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was, so I'm not going to say that I ran out and tried to figure it out.
Sure.
It literally took my wife going probably a couple months later, like, are you figuring this out? Because if you're not,
Hmm.
I don't want the wrath of God. You asked him what to do. He told you, and you're not doing anything
I
about it.
love that.
I'm going to start packing lunches and start
Hmm.
handing them out. And I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out.
Cold barbecue.
Yeah.
We're gonna start
So,
with ham and turkey
yeah.
sands.
So we're attending Estrella Mountain Church
Okay.
in Estrella, in Goodyear. And I knew that we had been doing something with a ministry called You Matter Ministry at the church.
I feel like I've heard of them.
They, they're a homeless ministry downtown, Van Buren and 31st. I knew nothing about them. I just knew people would bring flats of water in every Sunday, peanut butter and jelly,
Hmm.
and some guy would pick it up.
Hmm.
So I went to our secretary of the church and I said, hey, when's this guy come in to pick all this stuff up? I need to know more about this ministry.
Hmm.
So she said, he comes in at 10 o'clock every Wednesday. I said, I'm going to be here.
Hmm.
So 10 o'clock, I'm already there.
Hmm.
Guy walks in. I introduce myself. He says, my name's Rick. I said, Rick, tell me about your ministry.
Hmm.
He said, well, we've got a homeless ministry. And every Saturday morning, we do a church service for the homeless.
Okay.
And then immediately following, we feed them.
Hmm.
I said, oh, really? I said, well, let me tell you why I thought I needed to meet you.
Hmm.
I feel like God is telling me I'm supposed to do something with barbecue, feeding the homeless.
Hmm.
He looked at me like I had a horn coming out of the middle of my head.
Uh-huh.
He said, you're not going to believe this, Jeff. He said, I literally just got off the phone
Mhm.
with a church that's been coming down here the first Saturday of every month
Mhm.
for 3 years.
Mhm.
And they just called me and said, we can't get enough volunteers.
Mhm.
We're not going to be able to continue to do what we're doing. And he said, I
Mhm.
didn't know what I was going to do. I walk in here and you're saying you're supposed to be doing something.
Mhm.
That's where everything started.
Love that.
Everything, we did everything out of our own pocket. We did it super low key. We didn't
Mhm.
tell anybody about what we were doing.
Mhm.
We'd snag a few friends here and there because really it only took about an extra 3 or 4 people
Okay.
to do that ministry down there.
Early stage of the game, like what's the setup? What are you
Yeah.
using?
So
Just sticking a Traeger in the back of the truck? Or?
no. So Kate and I went down there that month before we were going to start. We went down there because they do this every Saturday.
Yep. Okay.
So we knew that
Is
Saturday
it still
was
going on by chance?
It
Oh,
is.
no.
Yes.
Wow.
That flag chat, that's where everything started for
Wow.
us. And
Okay, that's
we
killer.
still, first Saturday of every month, we are
Okay.
down there serving.
Okay.
And we serve the same meal.
Okay.
So how that kind of came about is, have you ever been to a church potluck?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's crock pots all over the
Oh
table,
yeah.
spaghetti,
Uh-huh.
there's mac and cheese,
Mm-hmm.
there's Jello pudding,
Mm.
whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching these people come through with this hodgepodge of mound of just stuff on their
Mm-hmm.
plate. I
Mm-hmm.
go, we ain't doing that. I said, we're going to do pulled pork sandwiches,
More orderly.
baked beans,
Mm.
coleslaw, a bag of chips. And that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
to
love
this
that.
day, we still do the same menu. We're
Mm-hmm.
known as the pulled pork guys.
I love
So
it.
BBQ Mission, actually, our logo is BBQ Mission, serving Jesus one meal at a time. It used to be BBQ Mission serving one pulled pork sandwich. Yeah, it was.
I like the change up.
Yeah, that was a total God thing too. So we did that for about 5.5 years.
Okay.
Super quiet. My business partner decided to move his family to Arizona.
Oh, cool.
They live in Scottsdale.
Okay.
His kids were attending Scottsdale Christian Academy,
Okay.
and he got to know this guy that had some type of a barbecue
Mm-hmm.
business, and he was telling him about what Kate and I did. And this guy said, "Hey, I need to meet these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Give me his number. I want to set up a meeting."
Mm-hmm.
Well, lo and behold, it was Danson's. Danson's is the owner of Pit Boss
Oh,
Grills,
yes. I remember you telling
Louisiana
me this.
Grills,
Yes.
smoking. Yeah, they called me up, set up an appointment, and I went to their office and met Dan, the
Mhm.
founder, the dad, Jordan, one of the owners, and Jeff Thiessen.
How cool.
Yeah. And they just said, "Hey, listen, we love your story." An
Mhm.
hour later, after telling them my story, they're like, "We love your story.
Mm-hmm.
We give 10% of everything we make here away,
Mm-hmm.
and we are on board to do whatever it takes to help you."
Heck yeah.
And next thing I know, we've got a 25-foot trailer that
Mhm.
couldn't be put together any better for
Mhm.
us, that had been sitting in their warehouse for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jeff Thiessen literally looked at me and said, "We could never figure out why we had this trailer sitting here
That's
for so
hilarious.
long, and it was meant for
Wow.
you."
Wow. That's
The
cool.
president of the company donated his Chevy Silverado to pull it.
Awesome.
They gave us
Shout out to
a
them.
nice chunk of change to get this thing rolling.
Let's go, Pit Boss.
Yeah. So, as things just continue to evolve over the last, 10 years, we had some really influential people in our lives that really started to speak truth into Kate and I,
Mm-hmm.
because both of us had jobs.
Yeah.
We're serving every Monday. We're serving every Wednesday. And as you know, also, you'll be out with us this coming Saturday. We partner up with other organizations on Saturday that we believe in, that we want to help. So we're doing all that on top of grocery shopping, trying to raise money and trying to work full time.
Mm-hmm.
We just had some people come into our lives and just said, "Listen, this ain't going to work anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And especially our board, they're just like, you've got to start taking a salary.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, "Well, we don't feel like God wants us to take a salary." And they said, "Do you understand how impactful this ministry is? Not only for the people that you're serving,
Mm-hmm.
but the people that are coming along and being able to serve alongside you."
It definitely goes both ways.
And
it's
they
a
just
joy
said,
to serve and to be served.
They said, "If you guys burn out, all that goes away."
Mm-hmm.
So
wise
reluctantly,
words.
we started taking a salary.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So January, I started taking a full-time salary. Isn't much. And Kate's takes a partial salary right now, but we're both full-time.
Good.
And that just takes it to a whole different level. You know what I mean?
When this is all you're doing.
It's a business.
Yep.
But it's a business for God. And it's, we could sit here for hours and talk about all the miracles that have happened.
Well, let's talk about funding, honestly. So I'm going to show my ignorance here. Is it a 501c3? Okay.
Yes.
And so anybody watching this, let's say they're like, I want to give to BBQ Mission.
Yes.
Is that something they can do?
Absolutely. 100%. So
that's
a whole nother story. So it was just about just over 4 years ago.
4 months ago.
No, over 4 years ago.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Did I say 4 months?
No, I don't know.
Edit that out, please.
I know.
So 4 years ago, I actually found an attorney.
Okay.
and there's a whole story behind that too.
Okay.
But I was just, God speaks to me through other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a conversation with my
Mm-hmm.
best friend who loves
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 hours into a conversation, he looked at me and he said, I feel like you're supposed to be doing more with BBQ Mission.
Mm-hmm.
This was just before I was going to meet Danson's pit boss
Okay.
people.
Okay.
So,
Segue into
he's
that.
just like,
Yeah.
hey, I think you're supposed to do more.
Yeah.
So I'm not a dip your toe in. I'm basically, I'm jumping in head first.
Yeah.
So I'm
If you're
calling,
like me, kind of look later too.
yeah, I'm calling one of the most, recognized 501c3 attorneys
Mm-hmm.
in the Valley.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Bob Brown. And I call Bob and I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. And he goes, come on in. I'm going to talk you out of doing this, but come on in. I'm like, Bob, I'm not coming in there if you're going to talk me out of this.
Yeah.
He goes, just get your butt in here.
Okay.
So we ended up for the first just over 3 years. Well, what he suggested is because you're just getting started,
Mm-hmm.
you need to go under another 501c3,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's your church,
Mm-hmm.
another organization. That way you have that 501c3
Mm-hmm.
status
Mm-hmm.
where people can still donate to BBQ
Mhm.
Mission
Mm-hmm.
and still get a tax write-off.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So as of last November,
Mhm.
2023,
Mm-hmm.
we finally are officially a 501c3.
Kind of out on your own.
We are on our own as a
Mhm.
501c3.
Mm-hmm.
The really cool thing is there's only like 1,200 of us nonprofits in the Valley that actually qualify for what is called a qualified charitable organization.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that?
I believe so.
So that's
This
basically your
involves taxes.
Yes, your state
Mhm.
taxes.
Yep.
So the state of Arizona actually encourages
Mm-hmm.
people to send their state taxes to an organization
Mhm.
like BBQ Mission
Mm-hmm.
because they know we're out there doing what they as a state
Mm-hmm.
don't have the resources to do, and they don't know where to throw the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're saying like, hey, Eric,
Mm-hmm.
if you made X amount this year, or
Yeah.
just the cutoffs are, and I'm going to get the single one wrong, but it's in the 400s. But
Mhm.
if you're filing joint,
Mm-hmm.
you can donate $938 a max,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a tax dollar for dollar,
Dollar for dollar.
dollar
Are
for
you
dollar.
sure about that?
I am sure
Okay,
about that.
That's fantastic.
Yes. And then if you're filing single,
Mhm.
it's in the 400s.
That's really awesome.
No, it
'Cause
is.
dollar
It's a
for
game
dollar
changer.
is so much different than just a write-off, and I hope people
Dollar.
watching this understand that it's just, hey, you were gonna owe 10 grand in taxes. Well, now you owe, 9 grand 100. If you're able to
Exactly.
give 900 away, so it's just
Yeah.
really you're reallocating money you would just give to the state to hopefully you guys, but also like just the top level theory is any approved 501(c)(3).
Absolutely. In fact, we didn't even give ours away to BBQ Mission last year.
Mhm.
We actually gave it to a place called House of Refuge,
Oh,
who
how
we
cool.
love and support.
Wait, who runs that?
House of Refuge?
Yeah, do you know?
Well, there's 2 different House of Refuge in the
Okay.
Valley. One is Sunny Slope and one's in Mesa.
Okay.
So the one in Mesa, we always do their Christmas
Okay.
party every year.
We gotta talk about that later.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Okay, cool.
So yeah, so that's a huge thing.
Okay,
State of
but
Arizona is
now
the
how does
only
somebody- how do-
state that does that.
How does somebody do this? So they want to do this. So you've got the option to just go through and do
Yep.
this on your taxes, I
Yep.
presume. Talk to your tax professional or whatever.
Yeah, you can actually go to our website. We have
Okay.
we have 2 donation buttons on there.
What's the
One-
website?
It's bbqmission.org.
Okay.
We actually bought up all the domain names, so you can go bbqmission.org,
Okay.
bbqmission.com,
Okay.
barbecuemission.com.org,
Okay.
and you can spell barbecue both ways.
Okay, cool.
So we've got
You're
all
getting
6
there.
of those.
People are going to figure it out.
You're one way or another, you're going to
Okay.
fall on us. Just
Okay.
don't fall on Mission Barbecue.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's a restaurant.
Okay.
Plus, they're a great organization
heard
too.
of
They give
that,
a
too.
lot of money
Okay.
away.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So they're on your website. They can kind of figure out how to give.
Absolutely.
To you. Okay.
Yeah. We've got a 7-digit code with the state of Arizona
Okay.
that when you do your taxes, that is the number you're going to use. And there's one form that you do. Now, if you have an accountant, they're going to know exactly what you're talking about.
Sure.
If you're doing your own, it's right there on our website.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to that second button, which says qualified charitable organization.
How awesome.
You can give one time, you can give,
Mhm.
you can, even if you wanted to set it up as a monthly thing, knowing that you want your money to go
Mhm.
that direction,
Mhm.
you can set that up. And
Fantastic.
basically it is, I mean, really, it's not even It's just telling your state taxes where to go.
Yeah. No, I love that. There's a similar thing with schools here in Arizona too,
Yes.
which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I do love Arizona for a lot of that, kind of control you have over where your money goes. So
Yes.
I would encourage anybody that's watching to at least consider that. These guys are out here doing a fantastic job
Even if it's not BBQ Mission,
for sure.
just tell your money where to go.
Yeah, I
You already
appreciate
paid
that.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Write the check,
Mm-hmm.
donate it on a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
The state's going to cut you a check dollar for dollar back.
Mm-hmm. It's
So,
fantastic.
yeah.
What are some? So we've kind of gone through the history of you, history of BBQ Mission, the hows, the whats, the whys, and to kind of where you're at now. So you're 10 years in. You've just become salaried first part of this year, 2024, and so you've almost got your first year underneath your belt. I'm sure. I know you probably have bigger aspirations yet.
Yeah.
Can you share maybe some or any of the things that you maybe aren't locked in stone on, but that
Yeah.
you're thinking about to maybe help that along for all 10 of the people that are going to watch this?
For you 10, thank you
Yeah.
for watching.
Yes.
Yeah, we learned pretty early on that we were trying to make this thing grow
Mm-hmm.
and trying to control that.
Yeah.
And it was that day my wife looked at me and said, why are we praying for all this stuff? Why are we not just praying that God would bless the things that he's already put under us?
Yeah.
And life changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, do I have some dreams and aspirations?
Sure.
Absolutely. In fact, I would love to have another trailer on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to have you running it.
I know.
Yeah. I would love that.
Well, we'll talk Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. So I mean, just kind of financially, everything that we run off is donation, 100% donations.
Okay.
It costs us about $25,000 a month to do what we're doing.
Okay.
We do about 117 to 120 events a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're out a lot.
That's busy.
It's very busy.
Like
on
every
top
third
of all
day.
the shopping,
Yeah.
fundraising,
Mm-hmm.
And it's.
Now these might be stupid questions. I'm sure you've thought of them, but like, are there opportunities for any grocers to donate to you?
So,
or things like that, like other people giving, maybe the charcoal or maybe the gas or maybe the chicken or whatever. How does some of that?
So I will actually be pulling into PepsiCo tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Okay.
And right by the guardhouse, I will have a pallet of water and Gatorade.
Oh,
so yes.
awesome.
So PepsiCo has stepped up here in the last probably 4 months.
How cool.
And they donate all our drinks. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, that's huge dollars.
Thank you, PepsiCo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Food wise, we've had, we get people that will call and say, hey, we got food, we got this, we got that. We're like, listen, what we want to do is we want to be consistent on what we serve.
Yeah.
And it's even in our tagline with BBQ Mission is we serve good food on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the same menu.
Mm-hmm.
We do in our menu is pulled pork sandwiches. We have brisket sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
We do chili cheese dogs. We do cheeseburgers, and we do barbecue chicken.
I've had everything, and it's all fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the meal we get to share afterwards with everybody.
Yeah.
As well as part of the deal. That's very special as well. You guys do nail it. You knock it out of the park every time, and I think it's kind of back to that old adage, jack of all, master of none. If you've got that crock pot table out there, it's hard to be consistent, but you've got a very boiled down menu. So I love it. This is a fantastic story, and I love to see it grow and continue to impact lives. I know when I'm there, I'm always shocked at how many names you remember. And then I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Like the lines are hundreds of people long.
Oh yeah.
Often. Is there a season to this? What you do? Like, is it like, okay, we're taking July and August off or something like, cause it kind of shuts down for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Like when it's insane outside.
Yes. Yeah. We need a break. They need a break.
Mm-hmm.
Our volunteers need a break.
Yeah.
our equipment's breaking down, the
Mhm.
truck needs work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, even a truck in our trailer has been costing on the off season to get everything up
Mhm.
and back into
I
shape
can only
around
imagine.
10 grand.
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so yes, we do. We take that first full week of or last full week of July off,
Mhm.
all of August, and we come
Mhm.
back the Monday after Labor Day.
Okay, cool. So you're
And
just getting back to it,
we
kind
are.
of,
Yeah, I
a
think
little
we're
bit.
into our third Monday back.
Awesome.
And the crazy thing is homelessness is for real.
Yeah.
The new faces we're seeing every week.
Mhm.
I mean, on any given Monday, I mean, it's pretty easy to count how many burgers you do
Are you
because
still at the Catholic church down there downtown?
the Lutheran
Lutheran church,
church.
sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess
Okay.
if the 10 people that may be watching this,
Yes.
we would love to have you guys out to volunteer. Go to our website. That's a whole crazy story too, is we serve lunch every Monday. We serve lunch every Wednesday. So every Monday we're in downtown Phoenix at Grace Lutheran Church. That's 3rd Street in Portland area. Every Wednesday we're in Avondale at Avondale Baptist Church. That's about 80-20. So 20% homeless, 80% are what we like to call material poor.
Mhm.
You know, they have a roof over their head. They're living
Mhm.
off the food bank.
Mhm.
And they don't
The
have
working, basically the working
working.
homeless. Where
Yes.
have you any good partnerships or anything formed with kind of like the next step, like just after homelessness or just before homelessness or anything?
Yeah, we try to stay in our lane.
I get it.
You know,
Yeah,
we just want to spread the gospel.
I love it.
We want to look them in the eye. We want to smile. We want to
Mhm.
see them. We want to hear them.
Mhm.
You know, we want them to be seen.
Mhm.
And so yeah, we've been staying in our lane. You know, we added the prayer tent
Mhm.
about 2 years ago,
Yeah,
and as my wife would
I
say, when
remember
we
that.
first introduced that, it was a fizzle.
Mhm.
No, we now have prayer warriors that do nothing but sit in that prayer tent
I
every
love that.
Monday, every Wednesday,
I love
and
that.
they got backups. And
Cool.
the names and the faces they're getting to know
Mhm.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, what a great way to
But
connect.
if you would come down on a Monday,
Mhm.
we serve about oh, we're just getting back at it, so it's always a little bit slow. I think we did about 200, close to 200 burgers on
Wow,
Monday. Our record's 360.
that's
I mean, that's a
amazing.
lot of
It's
burgers.
a lot.
But what's happening in that parking lot
Mhm.
is the word's getting out.
Mhm.
So we've got a organization called Circle the City.
Mhm.
They're a mobile
Okay,
medical for the homeless.
let's go.
So they show up
I love
every
this.
Monday.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's new for me.
that is
Yeah.
new.
Okay, cool.
They've got a liaison that does nothing but try to get people out of homelessness, get
Oh,
them
love it.
shelter.
Mhm.
We've got another organization that comes down, and the name escapes me, and I
It's
do
alright.
apologize if they're one of these guys who's watching this, but
Mhm.
they do free testing for hepatitis,
Okay.
sexually transmitted diseases,
Mhm.
HIV. Then we have a church out of Sun City
Mhm.
that brings a shower trailer down
Awesome.
every other Monday.
Mhm.
So they're knocking out 50, 60 showers while we're
Mhm.
down there.
Mhm.
And we did Crossroads. Have you
Okay.
ever heard of
I
Crossroads?
have not.
They're another homeless housing.
Okay.
They just heard about us and asked if they could set up a table down there
Mhm.
also. So we've got all these organizations in
This
this.
is turning into a family.
It is it's insane.
I love it.
It is beautiful thing. It is so cool to see. You know, the thing is, yeah, we we I always felt like we were supposed to be there to help with the least, the last, and the lost.
Mhm.
And when you talk homeless, these people,
Mhm.
when we first started down there
Mhm.
4 years ago,
Mhm.
nobody would look us in the eye. They just
Mhm.
kind of came through with their head down, not knowing who
Yeah.
the heck we were, grabbing some food and getting out.
Mhm.
You go down there now, you can't even get out of the truck and they're running up to give you a hug.
I love
You
it.
know, and they're so thankful.
Yes.
But the crazy thing is, they all have a story, Eric.
Everybody
They all have a
does.
story.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give you, I'll just give you one quick one.
Cool.
We had a gentleman that I was actually wanting to utilize him. I had heard he was an attorney.
Okay.
And it was kind of during the COVID thing, and I had
Mhm.
about a year go by, and I was waiting on a product that was supposed to be at the house
Okay.
like 9 months ago, and I can't get a
Mhm.
hold of the person. So I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to take this thing to small claims.
Mhm.
I've already paid for it, and I
Mhm.
can't get a hold of them.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I've never, and I'm looking this guy up, and there's now he's got two different names. So I'm like, how do I go about doing this?
Mhm.
Well, I find out that one of our friends,
Patrons.
that
Mhm.
patrons that come through, is an attorney. So I take him to lunch. Kate and I
Okay.
take him to lunch. We get his story. This guy practiced law in LA for 20 years,
Mhm.
UCLA law grad,
Mhm.
20 years,
Wow.
has a major heart attack,
Mhm.
loses everything. He looked us straight in the eye and he said, listen, I was making great money. I
Yeah.
just didn't manage it well.
Yeah.
He said, and then I have this catastrophic health issue.
Mhm.
Hospital bills take everything, foreclosure. I lose my license. I've been on
Wow.
the streets for 15 years.
Wow.
Smart as a whip, this dude.
Wow.
Smart as a whip. Talks me through how to walks me
Mhm.
through small claims
Mhm.
and how God works. I'm literally getting this thing put together, and I get a phone call from the guy that I'm waiting on a phone call from, telling me my product's in.
Love the odds of that being an accident.
But I mean, it's just one of
Yeah.
those things. I would have
Yeah.
never went out and
Yeah.
talked to this gentleman. I mean,
Yeah.
got to really get to know his
Mhm.
story.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's just story after story after
I
story like
believe
that of
you.
people that we consider them family. You
Mhm.
know, they are our family down there.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we've got aspirations out of the way. What do you have any questions for me? What, or actually, no, I got one more for you
Yeah.
first. Advice for anybody else trying to raise the grade. This could be in no relation to what you do or complete relation to what you do. Jeff's life advice for raising the grade.
You know, I truly believe, and it's biblical, you have a purpose in this life.
Mm-hmm.
Your purpose may be to work a office job
Mm-hmm.
and be a light for Jesus in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, if you really want to know what God wants you to do,
Mm-hmm.
start asking.
Mm-hmm.
Start praying about it,
Mm-hmm.
and really sit back and let him talk to you. It may not be instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
It may be longer than a year and a half it took me. But I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, there is no doubt in my mind that this ministry, BBQ Mission,
Mm-hmm.
is 100% God's ministry.
I love that.
Because in spite of us, this baby is rolling along.
I love God and his sovereignty and his providence.
Yeah.
So fantastic. As we kind of wind down here, I'll usually turn it over to the guests at this point.
No.
Little surprise. So it's your mic. Any questions or thoughts for me at all?
Yeah, I want to know more about your business. You went
Okay.
out and started this.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me how that all got started.
Yeah, no, I just it was a funny story. I say this
Funny haha
the
or
nicest way possible. Funny, different. No. So um me and a friend were working for a company, and it was just kind of maybe less than ideal scenario situation. And he's like, well, I'm out of here. And I'm like, oh, if you do that, well, I'm gonna get canned. Just kind of saw the writing on the wall. So started studying for my test, and a few weeks go by and he never ends up kind of really leaving or anything. I'm like, oh, never, he's just talking. And then we have a meeting, and it was just kind of bizarre. And so I wasn't very happy at the meeting or with the meeting, nor was my friend. And so it kind of showed. I can't hide that too well. Didn't say anything, but just body language stuff. So I get a call a few hours later and get fired. And I was like, oh, that sucks. And so then also, my buddy gets fired too. Well, lo and behold, I had scheduled my test for the next morning. Previously, I was like, just kind of making preparations for an exit that I saw coming. And then, so got fired. I think it was a Wednesday night, and was licensed, bonded, and insured by noon the next day.
get out.
Yeah, no, praise God. And then, first couple of jobs were people that, I had been in contact with, and, I had kind of moved on, I was doing my own thing, and they called me and they're like, "Hey, we heard you're not there." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, And so, first couple of jobs were people that had kind of reached out and said, "Hey, we want to take a risk on you." And I'm like, "Well, okay, we can do this." Um, so, so yeah, I mean, basically just picked up the ball and started running with it, basically. Kind of going all in of like, okay, we're finally going to do this. A few years ago, I had really thought about it, and honestly just uh, probably ready. Wasn't probably ready. And so this was perfect timing. I feel like I'm ready. Um, Coincidentally, a couple crews got fired from that same company. They're with me. We are full steam ahead, my friend. So it's fantastic. I just signed a lease today on a small building. So baby steps. If you
Where's it at? Is it in Mesa
Right here
or
in Tempe.
right here in Tempe?
Yeah, so I'm here in Scottsdale now, but it's here in Tempe, just around the airport, industrial, nothing
Yeah.
fancy. It's cheap, it's dirty. It's going to be fantastic for serving my needs for now. Um, Definitely have some great plans to grow, but already, I mean, the Google reviews are on point. I'm very pleased with my team. Everybody is everybody's in on Rising Tide Landscapes. Everybody that's with us is um they're on board. It's not like, hey, I'm going to do this for a little while and make a little bit of money and step up or out, or it's something. No, everybody on board is on Team Rising Tide. And so we're full steam ahead. I think I'll probably bring my nephew on in a month or two. And at that point, I think we really start to grow. So doors have been open since, well, for about 3 months as of this filming. Yeah,
Congratulations.
praise God. No,
That
it's
is
been a
awesome.
fantastic, little bumpy at times,
Yeah.
roller coaster ride, but I love it. Wouldn't change it for anything. I'm really glad I've stepped out of my comfort zone and done things like this. I just decided early on, like, hey, one of the things I'm going to have to do is, something on YouTube. And I thought, well, the goofy videos, we'll save those for Instagram, So I wanted a place to do this. And I swear, every guest, this is embolstered. Is that a word? Bolstered.
AD, is that a word?
Bolstered. Can we get a Google
Rocket
check?
scientist, please.
Embolstered? Yeah, no. Bolstered. It's bolstered my relationship with that guest tenfold, because we don't do this. This doesn't happen in real life.
Mhm.
So I've been able to pick and choose selfishly, but wisely, who I want to have on. What are we going to talk about? And it's just paid off in tenfold for both parties.
Mm.
The guests are getting great visibility because my show really is about them, and then I'm getting out of it a great conversation with somebody I want to know more.
Yeah.
And then maybe somebody wants to listen to it. We'll see, but I don't really care. Honestly, this has been just a fun way of pinning somebody down and talking to them.
Love it.
So far so good. Definitely I'm figuring out, so I'm just more of a handshake guy. I've gone to go meet all my vendors in person and try to shake a hand or something instead of an email or a Skype or a Zoom or whatever the kids are doing these days. Um, Same with customers. I'd much rather drive there and present to them with a laptop and go through the design if possible. It's not possible and everything. I mean, at some point there's a point where it's like, okay.
Yep.
um but it's, I think even with these guys, that are hosting this, and who my all my media guys, I went and met them first, before I signed up, and it's like, I don't know that everybody's doing that these days.
No.
So that's been fun. I've
No.
I've loved it. I've loved a lot of the connections I've made. um yeah, yeah, it's going good.
Awesome.
It's going good. It's a lot of hours for now.
Yeah.
Great. I'm reading a
We're
great book
coming
on
into
that.
that sweet season right
Oh,
now.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
What else you got? That was a good one. You got
That
me
was a good
riled. You
one.
got me riled up.
Yeah, I love it. Just get right to it, man. Get you riled up there. So, yeah. Well, I know we talked earlier, see how the kids were doing and the wife's
Mhm.
doing. And
Mhm.
you still in the same house, or you said you're in
No, we're in
Scottsdale?
Scottsdale. We actually live in an apartment right now.
Okay.
Just because we didn't want all the maintenance and
Yeah.
everything. And it's pretty nice. Like it's got some really cool amenities. Also because we weren't sure where we wanted to buy. So we were in East Mesa. We never bought here. We've just been renting on purpose, going, where do we want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Loving Scottsdale.
Yeah.
It's just really
It's an
expensive.
acquired
It's just
taste.
really expensive. So I don't know. I like a lot of places. You know, I want something close to church, close to work.
Yeah.
But the beauty of being here is we're 10 minutes from the airport, 20 minutes from church. We can go any direction. So somewhere in probably a 10, 15 mile
Yeah.
radius around here is where we would probably end up.
Awesome. Yeah. We ended up moving 3 years ago.
Okay, where you at?
Yeah. We're in Surprise,
Okay.
west of the 303.
West of the 303.
You know where Cactus and Perry. Well, have you ever been over on the 303?
Oh, yeah.
lately?
I've been on.
So you know where that new
everywhere,
Costco is?
man.
Well, I shouldn't say new Costco. It's been there, 5 years?
It rings a bell.
So
Yeah.
Costco is right there on Waddell.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just west of there.
Okay.
Our addition bumps right back up to the White Tanks
Okay.
State Park.
Okay. Cool.
But no, that's a whole God story in itself. When the housing industry was like blowing up,
Mm-hmm.
my 2 advisors for BBQ Mission said, listen, you got 2 things that you need to concentrate on this year: donations, and you need to find housing for BBQ Mission.
Mm-hmm.
And who would have ever thought that COVID, I mean, look what it did to real estate
Oh, yeah.
at that time. It was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But I was 10 people deep in a waiting list for a flex space. I just needed a warehouse to park the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
someplace I could keep perishables.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need an office.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be air conditioned because I'm going to have freezers and refrigerators. They don't need to be working that hard.
Yep.
And I couldn't find anything, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my accountant. I said, hey, if I bought a house with an RV garage,
Mm-hmm.
how would that work out?
Mhm.
She's like, BBQ Mission can pay as long as it's at or below
Mm-hmm.
market value.
Awesome.
You're good to go. So the housing market there, every house I put on the market personally
Mm-hmm.
for a client, I
Mhm.
had 20 to 25 offers. That's how fast things were
Mhm.
going.
Mm-hmm. I do
And-
remember that.
And I did a quick search for a RV home, and one popped up, and I told Kate, she happened to be in California that weekend. I said, hey, I'm going to go check this house out after church.
Oh man,
And she
that's
looked
a phone
at me.
call every wife.
Yeah,
So you
no,
called her?
listen.
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
there's a history to this.
Oh,
Okay, every
no.
house we've ever bought,
Uh-huh.
she's always out of town,
Uh-huh.
and I always buy it.
Uh-huh.
She
I
never sees
knew
it first.
I don't know why I knew that.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I know what's going to happen. I said, no. I said, I'm gonna go check it out.
Promise.
I'll FaceTime you, whatever.
Yeah.
Brand new build,
Mm-hmm.
never lived in.
Mm-hmm.
I literally 45 minutes later, I can't find this house
Mm-hmm.
because it's a new build.
Mm-hmm.
Apple
Yeah,
Maps,
yeah,
Google
Google,
Maps,
no.
nothing's
We
taking me
run
there.
into that a lot in our industry.
There was no offers on that house. It had been on the market 2 weeks.
Okay.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
There isn't a house out there that's on the market more than 2 days
Mm-hmm.
without multiple offers. That's
Mhm.
how crazy real estate was then.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, Kate, I'm going to put an offer in. And we got it.
I love it.
We got it. And
That's fantastic.
it's a 50-foot RV garage with a 3-car tandem.
Mm-hmm.
That whole garage is nothing but BBQ Mission.
Just
Other than we have one personal car that
Yeah,
sits
sure.
in there too.
Mm-hmm.
But that third bay is a huge industrial sink.
Mm-hmm.
Refrigerator, freezers are in there. That whole 50-foot part of the wall of that garage where the trailer backs in and
Mhm.
the truck is nothing but, supplies, food. It's absolutely,
I love it.
I'll tell you, it took us probably a good year to be okay living in Surprise
Mm-hmm.
because we loved where we lived. All our family.
Where were you?
We were
Down
in
here
Estrella.
somewhere? Okay.
So I don't know if you know where that's at in Goodyear.
Mm-hmm.
Up into the foothills,
Mhm.
Estrellas.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful location. We're there. We still go to church there. It's a half an hour away,
Yeah.
but that's our
So
family.
the Mesa Drive is just a haul for you.
Oh, well, it's a haul.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can see you.
Tonight was a haul.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
Thank
like
you.
50 minutes to get here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Surprise is out there a little bit.
It is out there.
We're going out there. We got a couple leads out there this week. So.
Yeah. I mean, Mondays are good. We, with volunteers, they don't have to show up till 10. We serve at 11. If it's chicken, I'm there by 8:00 doing all the chicken before anybody gets there.
Yeah, let's just kind of walk back through this. So somebody's watching this, they're in the valley, they're like, I think this fits my vibe, I want to come and serve. How do they do that?
Super simple. Just go to the website.
Okay.
bbqmission.org.
Okay.
On there's a volunteer. You can go in, you get a profile, you sign up.
Okay.
Because there's waivers that get signed that first time through. You'll have a username. And I mean, if you loved it, like 99% of the people that come down there, they want to come again.
Yeah.
It's a quick, you just jump in there then and yep, this is the day I want. So volunteers, both Mondays and Wednesdays show up at 10.
Okay.
We start serving at 11.
Monday and Wednesday both at the Lutheran Church downtown?
No. Wednesdays are in Avondale.
Well, and this is as the time of this filming. Has it changed at all over the 10 years? Or
Yeah,
really
Avondale just came on board about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So
we
started
check the website.
That was a total God thing too. I just looked at Kate and said, man, I just feel like God's telling us we're supposed to do more. And she looked at me like, are you crazy?
I know. I hear a recurring theme.
Yeah. Oh, she's got some, you got to have her on this podcast. She's got some great stories.
Oh, I'd love it.
Where God just got a hold of her and just said, listen, your husband's moving forward with what I have for him. You're either on board or you're not. And she's like, oh, okay. I'm on board. I want to do what my husband's doing.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. Honestly, she runs the show, in a good way.
Yep. I love it.
So
no, definitely seen Kate in action, and it's when it's time for business, it's time for business.
It's time for business.
Yeah. No, I
Don't be screwing around.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Any closing thoughts or anything? I think we're getting kind of close to that wrap up time. We've figured out who you were, what you do, why you do it, how long you've been doing it, how other people can help. I love the tidbit about the tax donation. Everybody should take advantage of that. Personally. Can you do, I mean, this is an accountant question. Let's not get ourselves in trouble, but you can probably ask for your business as well, giving proceeds to something like BBQ Mission.
Correct.
As a choice to lower taxable income, I'm sure. And then just how easy it is to come and serve alongside you guys.
A lot of people comment on, had a family out of Washington that came down and served. It's an awesome story and I won't get into it, but basically as soon as they were finished serving, the husband walked up to me and he said, you know what? He said, we give to a lot of organizations and my kids know we give to a lot of organizations. He said, this is the first organization that I can give to and my kids can actually experience what we're giving to. He said, that is a huge blessing for us. And he said, as soon as I get in the car, I'm making a donation. And it was a beautiful donation. Wow. It was just crazy. And they still come back once or twice a year from Washington to serve as a family.
I'm wondering if I didn't run into them. I don't know what the chances are, but
it wasn't possibly
it wasn't at the place we're serving at Saturday.
No, it was a Monday.
It was a Monday.
It was a Monday.
I feel like we were there.
You could have been.
I definitely had some downtime, which is why I was able to serve a lot with you, because it was kind of playing.
You were. So, you were in a little different season of life then. Yeah, and it was a total blessing. So
it was fun.
We always say with BBQ Mission, we need three things: volunteers, donations, and the glue for everything is prayer. Without prayer, we ain't going anywhere. So just keep praying.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, and anybody can do one of those three, or all three.
I love it.
So
this is fantastic. Yeah. Jeff, thank you so much. This was a wonderful sit down, and I'm just stoked. I'm stoked to see you on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm stoked to have you.
It's gonna be fun,
Eric. It was a pleasure, and I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than sitting here talking about BBQ Mission.
Hey, Well,
I
we'll do it
love it.
again.
I love it.
I'll have Kate on next time. We'll get some stories
Do
about
it.
you.
Yes. Yeah. She'll give you some good ones. You guys don't watch it, but yeah.
Well, thank you guys. We really appreciate you checking us out.